Hey everybody, Dragon Movie Guy here. This is my Oscar prediction show for the 95th Academy Awards for the 2023 Oscars. Thank you for everybody watching live or watching on replay. I have a very special guest that's going to be going over our Oscar predictions with me today. We're going to be doing some looking at some odds for the Oscars, who is the favorite in each category. We're going to be going over the big 6 categories: Best Actor, Best Supporting Actress, Best Supporting Actor, Best Actor, or Best Actress, Best Director, and of course, Best Picture at the very end. So we've got a nice fun show planned today. Along with me today is my very special guest. He's had me on his channel countless times, more than I can count, doing me the favors. So I was hoping to do have him on my channel and not have to do any heavy lifting, or him not have to do any heavy lifting for me. But as I'm still a bit of a noob at the live streaming and hosting portion of the program, I just wanted to welcome in Rob Kristjansson of Jim and Rob Overanalyze Movies. Welcome to Dragon Movie Guy, Rob. Thank you for coming. Very good. It's good having you. Can you see me? Can you hear me okay? Is everything looking good on your end? Perfect. So the way I wanted to start this out is I just wanted to start off the two of us chatting for a bit about Oscar predictions, and I wanted to start with the actor categories and just look at the nominees first. Let's start with Best Actor. Does that sound okay? Alrighty. Yes. So let's start with, as I pull up that camera, that website. Let's start with actor, the Best Actor or Actor in a Leading Role. The nominees for this year's Best Actor are Austin Butler from Elvis, Colin Farrell from The Banshees of Inisherin, Brendan Fraser from The Whale, Paul Mescal from After Sun, and Bill Nye from Living. What are your general thoughts on this category? I was. Yeah, this set of 5 nominees for this year. Yeah, and I as well. I've tried to fill out my repertoire for seeing everything this year, but I did not see After Sun or Living. So Paul Mescal and Bill Nye, while they're very fine actors, I did not see their work in this category this year. I did want to look also at the betting odds. The Las Vegas, yes, the Vegas line, and the way that these betting odds work is that if you're playing, like, for example, if you're playing one-on-one basketball with your son and you have a 5-year-old son, obviously if it's an adult man versus a 5-year-old, you got to give some points to the 5-year-old son, otherwise it's going to be 20-0, right? So if you go, what? Yes, you're handicapping it. So if you say your son plus 10 points, on a game to 11, if you're saying the son plus 10 points, that is the underdog in the scenario. It's also, conversely, reverse that and you say the adult minus 10 as the favorite. So in this case, if you can see it on my, I have my screen up, hopefully, the 2023 Best Actor odds, according to Vegas Insider, has, in this field of 5 actors, has Brendan Fraser from The Whale as a minus 180 favorite. So anytime you have a field of 4, 5, 6, to have a favorite of that magnitude is a pretty large favorite, I would say, as large as his character in The Whale. Ha 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 ha. Yes, a full-on rim shot. So what do you think of these odds, though? Are you surprised by Bill Nye being a plus 8,000 underdog in the Best Actor category? Yeah, and I as well. Because I haven't seen Living or After Sun, I can't really say for sure. But of the 3 most likely to win, Brendan Fraser from The Whale, Austin Butler from Elvis, and Colin Farrell, it doesn't really surprise me that they're going that these are the odds here. So as I come back to us side by side. Boom! Best Actor. Oh, for some reason, you're not anymore. Technical difficulties. Okay, there we go. There you're back. So who do you think? Who do you think will win Best Actor, and who do you think should win Best Actor in your opinion? Yeah, me neither. And I am. I think I very similar. I think that Brendan Fraser will probably win, and I also am picking him as my choice for should win. Austin Butler did a great job as Elvis. But that film was not particularly great, even though his performance was probably the best part of it. And Brett, yes. And I loved Colin Farrell in Banshees of Inisherin as well. But it was a great performance, but there's nothing really odd that stands out about it. There's nothing really unusual. Like with Brendan Fraser, you have the massive fat suit that he's in the entire film. And usually with these categories, when there's a yes, but yes, but it's just one of those things where the Banshees of Inisherin is just a perfectly well crafted film, and there's nothing to pick apart there. It's just it just feels like that performance that will be on his reel on the in memoriam when he passes away, but it's not going to be his best known part. I believe, but it's a great part in a great movie in a great performance. But there's nothing superlative that really stands out about the performance. I am H.O. in my eyes. Humble. Yes. Yes. Shall we move on to Best Supporting Actress? As I change the graphic very sloppily. So let's go to the Best Supporting Actress category. Can you see that okay? Hopefully. Oop. For the nominees of the nominees for actress in supporting role or best supporting actress, we have Angela Bassett from Black Panther: Wakanda Forever, Hong Chow from The Whale, Carrie Condon from The Banshees of Inisherin, Jamie Lee Curtis from Everything Everywhere All at Once, and Stephanie Sue from Everything Everywhere All at Once as well. Opening thoughts on the Best Supporting Actress. Oh, okay. Let me pull that up. Hmm. That is a great moment. Yeah, and it's one of those weird things too, where I think everyone, obviously for good reason, got caught up in Chadwick Boseman's death and the ripple effects that that has with Black Panther: Wakanda Forever being the sequel that he wasn't alive to be able to be in, and then obviously we have the Marvel Studios logo at the beginning in a very somber, very well thought out tribute to him at the beginning of the film. So to see her essentially get nominated for the scene that was in the trailer, which was "Have I not given everything?" and pronouncing all three syllables in every. It's a moving performance, but I actually thought she kind of overacted in the scene in some ways, because like everyone else in reacting to his death, like I thought Shiri's reaction was perfect. I actually thought she overacted slightly in that scene. Um, of the other four performances, though, thoughts on Jamie Lee Curtis and Stephanie Sue competing against each other from the same film in the same category. Yeah, I was going back and forth trying to get you. There we go. So, who do you think should win the award, and who do you think will win Best Supporting Actress of the entire category? Really? Ba-doom. Yeah, and I love her. I love Yeah, no, absolutely. I love her work as well. I mean, I think how Stella got her groove back kind of was her big one that that got all the attention, and rightfully so. This one, it's I think it's more of a Chadwick Boseman tip of the cap than it is more about how great a performance she is. That being said, I think that she will win the best actor or best supporting actress. I think that honestly, the one that sticks out most in my mind in this category is Jamie Lee Curtis, because that role, there's just something very specific about the IRS agent that she plays that could it falls into those DMV kind of roles that it's a job that is completely thankless, and most people go in and just sort of punch a clock, but she is just such the true believer, such the hard worker, and wants to get everything right, and she just sort of nails that performance, that part of the performance. It's just, it really is memorable to me in that role. So I would say my choice would be Jamie Lee Curtis, and I think that Angela Bassett will win in that category. Very true. So moving on to Best Supporting Actor. That looks like a better transition. Uh, trying to get the hang of it here. The Oscar nominee Best Supporting Actor or Actor in a Supporting Role. We have 5 nominees in Best Supporting Actor, Actor in a Supporting Role. We've got Brendan Gleeson from The Banshees of Inisherin, Brian Tyree Henry from Causeway, Judd Hirsch from The Fablemans, Barry Cogan from The Banshees of Inisherin, and Kei Kwan from Everything Everywhere All at Once. General thoughts on the nominees for Best Supporting Actor? Me as well. So, and as I try to pull up, oops, that one. Yay, there we go. Yeah, the betting odds for Best Supporting Actor. Kei Kwan, a massive field favorite in the field. He's a minus 2,000 favorite. Barry Cogan next possible at plus 1,400, but everyone else is a long distance second in terms of favorite for. It really is amazing, and does this surprise you? Plus 3,400. That is a lot of money. You bet $100 and you get 3,400 back. That is a lot of cheese. That is some nice change to take out of the sports book. Yeah, Oh, Gwyneth Paltrow. Oh, okay. Oh, Judi Dench. It's funnier with the bleep. Yes, and anyone that wants a voiceover artist can find you on Fiverr. And I will put the link after the podcast in the YouTube link as well. Yes, and so who do you think will win this category, and who do you want to win this category, Best Supporting Actor? And me as well. I love all the performances in this category. I also did not see Tyree Henry in Causeway. I did not see that film. I love all these performances. I love the heartbreaking nature of Barry Cogan's performance in Banshees of Inisherin. That really stands out. I think Brendan Gleeson, though, was really... And Brendan Gleeson being in the supporting actor category for this film is... It's I know why they did it, so that he wouldn't be going up against Colin Farrell and kind of canceling each other out. But he really should have been in that Best Actor category, I think. When I looked it up, the pronunciation, I believe, was Kogan. I could be wrong about that, but that's what the website said, at least. So. Yeah, it was just so heartbreaking. And to add to your thoughts also on Judd Hirsch, I loved his performance. Yes, it really was a very minimal supporting role in terms of screen time, but what I kept thinking of when Judd Hirsch was on screen was I kept thinking of his character from Independence Day and how it was just very specific to the part. And I know they're different characters, but it was both are such brilliant performances. I just kept thinking, my God, could his character from Independence Day have gotten an Oscar nomination in the same movie where you have Will Smith, flying around and stuff. And then the idea of Judd Hirsch driving the bus with all the orphans in Independence Day too. I couldn't stop thinking of those scenes while the Fablemans was on. It, it just goes. Well, and the other part of that equation too is, the actors who are such good actors that they can come in and do that one scene, that one day of shooting, and the classic one being Alec Baldwin, coffees for closers only. He comes in, does that one scene, and it's just the kind of thing that the scene brings out 30 years later. People quote that line in every chance every time they get a chance to. Yeah, and so for an actor that to have that craft to where they can come in, make that kind of an impact at anywhere in a film in that one scene that people are talking about it, it's a lot of fun to watch. Yeah, yeah. One day of shooting. That's it. All it is, one day of shooting. So shall we move on to Best Actress, the Best Female Actor? In this scenario, we have, as I pull up, Actress in a Leading Role. We have the nominees as Cate Blanchett in Tar, Ana de Armas in Blonde, Andrea Riceborough in To Leslie, Michelle Williams from The Fabelmans, and Michelle Yeoh in Everything, Everywhere, All at Once. What are your opening thoughts on Best Actors? Yeah, you get all the people talking. Yeah, and I have not seen To Leslie as well. Interesting on the odds. Both Michelle Yeoh and Cate Blanchett are better than even money. Michelle Yeoh being a minus 125 favorite, and Cate Blanchett being a minus 115 favorite. Both slight favorites, but the fact that we have two better than even money odds, does that surprise you? So is Kate Blanchett your who you think will win, or who you think should win? Oh, uh, uh, I actually, yeah, and yeah, I don't think it has any kind of Me Too stuff in there as well. If anything, her character's anti Me Too because her character's so egocentric in that film. Yeah, and I and what's I yeah. Oh well, look, it's the movies all came out months ago anyway. So this is Oscars. So we could spoil away all we want here. Um, I I also think the odds are right on with this category where I love both of these performances in the favorites of Michelle Yeoh and um, Kate Blanchett. It's really interesting though because I go back and forth because Everything Everywhere All at Once is the better film, and Michelle Yeoh's performance is so multifaceted in this film, but yet Kate Blanchett's performance is more pure acting. This is because Tar is a film that's more. It's not as good a film as her. Yeah, this is true, but she's in character. She is in character and does. There's so many long takes in this film that we're really getting a more raw performance as opposed to Everything Everywhere All at Once, which is more highly produced. Not to say that any one is either or better than the other, but they both work with the films that they're in. I would my guess is that um, my guess is that Kate Blanchett will win in a minor upset, but I think Michelle Yeoh should win Best Actress in this film. And you're the opposite. You think Michelle Yeoh is going to. Yes, and and it is also interesting too because I believe that this is the first time in the 95-year history of the Oscars. I could be wrong, but I believe that this is the very first time that any actress or actor has gotten an Oscar nomination for wearing hot dog fingers. Yeah, yeah, she does as well. They did. They did. So shall we move on to Best Director? The director of all things good. Let's start with the Oscar nominations for Best Director. As I scroll down, the nominees for directing, not even Best Director, the directing category are The Banshees of Inisherin, Martin McDonagh, Everything Everywhere All at Once, The Daniels, Daniel Kwan and Daniel Scheinert. I love the Daniels thing. The Fablemans, Steven Spielberg, Todd Field for Tar, and Ruben Ostlund from Triangle of Sadness. Thoughts on these six people in 5 movies for directing? Does it surprise you that the Daniel Kwan and Daniel Scheinert, are a minus 1800 favorite, clear favorite? Yeah. Oh, You know, it's funny when I saw Everything Everywhere All at Once in theaters twice, and if you saw my instant movie review that I did after getting out of the first showing of Everything Everywhere All at Once, I didn't even necessarily say it was a great film. It affected me, and I think I said something to the effect that it was either the greatest film of the year or the weirdest film of the year, and probably somewhere in between. And then when I saw it the second time, because it's such a choppy, frenetic, kinetic film, yeah, you really do see the brilliance in that film. Um, it is really interesting because these are five really really strong directing nominees. I loved Triangle of Sadness because you have an alcoholic Woody Harrelson as the captain of a luxury cruise, which just that alone, and then the I forget her name, but the Filipina actress, her performance. No, no, she's a Filipina actress. She was the she kind of takes over the last third of the film. I'm actually kind of surprised she made that she wasn't nominated or got had some talk about her getting nominated, but she stole that film in the last third of the film. Triangle of Sadness. Yeah. She's a Filipina actress. I can't remember her name off the top of my head, but she yeah, and like, you know, it was almost like I'm the captain now kind of a thing, but she really yeah, the power dynamics that she does after the ship goes down and she becomes the it's fascinating to watch, and it's heartbreaking as the film ends. But I loved Ruben Östlund's very European filmmaking sense. Yeah, that's it. Dolly De Leon. Martin McDonagh. Yes, Abigail. Martin McDonagh. You know, I love Banshees of Inisherin, and in just a very classic Hollywood style of filmmaking, I think his directing in the Banshees of Inisherin is the best example of classic Hollywood filmmaking, character development, all that. It's a brilliant example of it, and I love that film. But there's nothing unique or plus or extra about it. It's just a really good story. Todd Field in Tar, you know, you're right. It's a great performance. I think I like Tar better than you did. I love the raw, kind of the longer takes, sort of the deconstructed part of that film. Yeah, it's a little bit too artsy-fartsy in places, but that artsy-fartiness serves the character of Lydia Tarr, I think. Steven Spielberg. Did you love The Fabelmans? I loved The Fabelmans. Okay. You know, in my thoughts on The Fabelmans, yeah, I, you know, as far as Steven Spielberg with Best Actor, though, it is interesting because it is his life story. No, for Best Director. Sorry, I misspoke there. Yeah, and Best Actor. But, you know, because it is his life, yes, because it is his life story, and yet it's not because it's not Spielberg's, it's The Fabelmans. I loved what he did here with. I loved what he did with young Sammy as young Steven, and the scene with his first girlfriend alone is just so brilliant, and why she loves young Sammy. It's freaking hilarious. But the Daniel Kwan and Daniel Scheinert, their one of their previous movies was, yeah. I don't know if you've seen Swiss Army Man. but it is also an indie film that they did. Swiss Army Man had Daniel Radcliffe, Harry Potter himself, as a corpse with superpowers. So it doesn't surprise me that they would come up with something like Everything Everywhere All at Once. I believe that they are favorites for a reason, and well, you're the guest. So tell me, who do you think will win? As I switch this back over, yeah, that helps. Who do you think should win Best Director or will win Best Director? The Oscar bait. The ranked order. For Best Director, Steven Spielberg, as a Lifetime Achievement Award. Now, I'm calling an audible here. I just watched Women Talking last night. Have you seen Women Talking yet? What do you think that Sarah Polley, the writer and director of Women Talking, should have gotten a Best Director nomination? Because she got a Best. So if you had executive control of the category and could put up Steven Spielberg, the Daniels, and Sarah Polley in a three-way race. Who do you think of those three should win and would win? It's happened before. Rarely, but it's happened before. Oh, I'm thinking of the Golden Globes. There was a no, well, there was a thing in the Robin Williams documentary where he was nominated for something like 10, 15 years ago, and Robin Williams and two other people were nominated for Best Supporting Actor, and it was a two-way tie. And so Robin Williams got up and gave an unaccepted speech where he talked about how he was the only person that lost in a three-person category where two people won. So that was sticking in my head. Yeah. Yeah. But you got the bleep there. You're the one with all the sound effects too. You got the bleeps all ready to go. Yeah. um. Mm, yeah. Yeah, is Warren Beatty even still alive? Is Warren Beatty even still alive? And I just watched the Chris Rock comedy special last night too. Have you seen the Chris Rock stand-up special from this weekend that he did on Netflix? It's good, not great. It's a little rough around the edge, but he does talk about the Oscars thing at the very, very, very end. But yes. So as far as my choices, I think the Daniels will win. I think they should win, but I also think that, and this is a lot of recency bias because I watched Women Talking last night, so it's fresh on my brain. But I do think Sarah Polley should have at least been nominated for this category because her work in that film is exemplary. The anyway, it is her work as director and writer in that film is amazing. So the fact that she wasn't nominated, I'm not saying any of the other nominees shouldn't have been nominated, but Sarah Polley definitely should have been. Yeah. So shall we move on? Yeah, it is. And it look, Triangle of Sadness won Best Picture, won the Palme d'Or at Cannes. He's getting all the free drinks for the rest of his life anyway after winning the Palme d'Or at Cannes. Yeah, so let's move on to Best Picture. Um, Going on to Best Picture, we have a big category this year. We have a huge category, so big that I have to scroll up and scroll down for the Best Picture nominees. That as I get to yes, as I scroll, there we go. The nominees for Best Picture are All Quiet on the Western Front. I couldn't care less about naming producers. Avatar: The Way of Water, Avatar 2, The Banshees of Inisherin, Elvis, Everything Everywhere All at Once, The Fablemans, Tar, Top Gun Maverick, Triangle of Sadness, and Women Talking. First thoughts on the Best Picture category? It's a good line. Uh, as for the sorry, go ahead. Oh, it was either it was either the greatest film of the year or the, the yeah. Yeah. and you cover a lot of films. So, shall we look at the odds? So interestingly, in a 10 film field, we have an overwhelming favorite in Everything Everywhere All at Once at minus 700. Everything else, yeah, I mean, to have a negative, to have a favorite that's that big a number in a 10 film field is pretty amazing. The next biggest favorite is plus 1100, The Banshees of Inisherin, then All Quiet on the Western Front, Top Gun Maverick, all the way down to plus 10,000 for Avatar 2, Triangle of Sadness, and Women Talking. Yeah, no. Does any of this surprise you? Have you seen you've and we've already gone over this, but you've seen all 10 of these films, correct? Ah, and the only one I have not seen yet is All Quiet on the Western Front. I take it back. I watched 5 minutes of it on Netflix and I fell asleep. So yeah, not saying it's bad. It was just late at night. Speaking of, as I pull this back up, and hopefully you come over with it. Yay! There we go. So who let's whittle it down to top five best picture candidates, and who do you think should win, and who do you think will win? Yes. Well, I didn't put up I didn't tell you ahead of time for top five, so that's on me. Okay, and then who do you think should win, and who do you think will win Best Picture? So you think, and ones that will stick with us. So you think that, so not the old guard. So you're so you think Everything Everywhere All at Once will win, and your choice for should win is The Fablemans. Is that right? Okay. Yeah. And oh, okay, gotcha, gotcha. Okay, makes sense. My top five best pictures of this year, I would definitely have Women Talking in there, and yeah, it's definitely a recency bias, but Women Talking is just such a fine piece of filmmaking. It's so finely crafted. All of the characters have such unique voices from different points of view. You never forget which character is talking at any one time. The Fablemans is such a brilliant film, and you're not supposed to compare it to other films, but considering that E.T. I saw in theaters when I was 6, and E.T. is all about Steven Spielberg in his 30s dealing with his parents' divorce emotionally. Fast forward 40 years, Steven Spielberg's real life parents actually did have a major reconciliation. There's shots of his parents in side by side wheelchairs in real life. They've both lived into their 90s. And so The Fablemans is such a love letter to his parents, whereas E.T. was critical of his dad especially, and somewhat critical of his mom for being emotionally immature during a divorce. If you look at the point of view of E.T., if you look at the point of view of The Fablemans, it's Steven Spielberg now 4 decades later, kind of revisiting similar material that's very personal to him, and you really see the "I love you, mom and dad," the forgiveness of the anger of youth, having been washed away, and just a love letter to his parents. And for that it's yes, yeah, and realizing, yeah, yeah, and the fact that he's Steven Spielberg, yeah, he's Steven Spielberg, but the fact that we're able to see an artist like Steven Spielberg revisit a similar topic 4 decades later and have a slightly different take on a very similar subject. It's fascinating to watch him as an artist grow and change over time there too. Also, I loved Banshees of Inisherin. It's just so well done, classic Hollywood filmmaking at its best. Stand-up performances. Barry Keoghan breaks your heart, and it is interesting to think too. that the Banshees of Inisherin takes place in 1923 during the Irish Civil War, which I know nothing about historically, but as an American, I think of the potato famine in the 1860s, 70s, 80s that leads to a massive migration across the Atlantic to America. So you have all these Irish immigrants coming here, but you never really think of looking at Ireland and everyone having left. And when you look at the Banshees of Inisherin and this very tiny island that doesn't have electricity, and when they show these expansive wide shots and these homes made out of brick or stone, and there's only 1 out of 10-ish that even have a home still standing. So the people that are left on Inisherin are the people that were left behind after the potato famine. And the fact that you see this, and yeah, it's just fascinating because you don't really think of the potato famine and the massive migration of people out of Ireland. You don't think of it in terms of the people that were left behind. And you can kind of see in the broken hearts of every single character in that film that they were left behind for various reasons. Not that people were leaving them behind, but they were the ones that couldn't or didn't or shouldn't have left. And it just adds to the heartbreak that is the Banshees of Inisherin. Really? Like Jim? That's interesting. French-speaking people of Irish descent. Yeah. And the and the Iceland immigration patterns. All uh, all that to say that Banshees of Inisherin in my top five, along with Everything Everywhere All at Once. I do think that Everything Everywhere All at Once probably will win, and I am really torn because I, like you, I think that there are 4 or 5 movies that are on this list that are ones that will stay with you, and much like the best, yeah, and you think back to yes, and I think that, like, if you think back to the 1995 Oscars for the 1994 films, there were 3 films in there that are all time favorites in my book, and that was Pulp Fiction, Forrest Gump, and Shawshank Redemption. And those are still films that get talked about, written about, and are on constant rotation on cable somewhere. So I think that may be the case with this year's Best Picture nominee field. I think Everything Everywhere All at Once probably will win. As to the ones that I think should win, I can't go against Everything Everywhere All at Once. Mainly, though, just because it's a film that takes so many risks, and all of those risks pay off. In my mind, I like rewarding filmmakers that take risks that pay off, and pretty much everything about Everything All Everywhere All at Once is, yeah, and it's the fact that they introduced hot dog fingers, that should be enough for any one of those films. But and the fact that even, and it makes it in the trailers too. You can see it where they're doing where they're just pushing the characters around in office chairs. Very simple thing. There's no green screening there. There's no high budget techno cranes. That's just putting a camera in front of someone, an actor in an office chair, and dragging it around and speeding it up. And yet somehow all of that is very simple and complicated at the same time, and it works. And they smash it all together. They break a lot of eggs, and it's just such a very distinct, specific, yes, a little bit artsy-fartsy, but every shot is there for a reason. Not a single shot in that film that has a ton of editing shots, a ton of different, a ton of shots back and forth. Everything about that film is so brilliantly done. They know exactly what they're doing. They have a very specific reason for doing everything that they're doing. They did it on a very small budget. And I guess my choice for Best Picture for me is Everything Everywhere. And I've not seen Loki yet, but I hear it's good things. Doctor Strange with a ponytail. and just talented filmmakers at their best. And yeah, Kiwi Kwan, Short Round. Who would have thought Short Round, retiring from acting basically 20 years ago, still working in the business behind the scenes, but who would have thought Short Round would have come off the bench and got an Oscar nomination? And a little. I spent $2 billion and I got nominated, but I didn't win. By the way, interesting trivia side note, and I'll throw this trivia question to you. And there are two of there there are two of this year's Oscar nominees who are overwhelming favorites. They starred in a low-budget comedy 30 years ago. And it's not like an all-time classic comedy either, but the fact that two Oscar nominees that are overwhelming favorites this year, the fact that they starred together in a film 30 years ago in a low-budget comedy, can you name that comedy? Yes. Two males, both overwhelming this year. Relatively low budget. Yes. Can you name that comedy? Kiwi Kwan is one. Yeah. Kiwi Kwan. Can you name the film that they starred in together? No. Nope. Think earlier. Brendan Fraser was. I don't believe Kiwi Kwan was. That's not the one I was thinking of. You want a clue? No, that was Blast from the Past. No, Pauly Shore is involved. Encino Man. Got a similar theme, though. The things you find doing research for YouTube. uh, no. But, if it's on, if you're flipping channels on a Sunday afternoon and it's on. Yes, probably. Yeah, flip on Free Guy or the old card. So yes, it does have that pretty good algorithm. So just gonna wrap up now. Thank you for coming on, Rob. I appreciate you coming on. My first, well, Cody was technically my first guest, but my first guest in my first guest in a relatively produced podcast. Thank you for coming on, talking Oscars with me. Final thoughts on the Oscars? Anything you got going on? Absolutely. And yeah, go for it. Yeah, absolutely. Well, it's interesting. I just watched Women Talking last night, and I noted in the end credits they shot the film in Canada. Yeah, yeah. Well, and yeah, and yeah, day for night color correction, but still, it's. And I love the 279 70mm aspect ratio too. That was really great. Even watching it at home, super widescreen. Rob at Rob Kristjansson. Not. Oh, that is a good title. I was wondering about your profile pic change. So nice. Never just a movie. Yes. But don't use ChatGPT, because that's cheating. It's all AI. And we comment on everyone else stealing others' work, so it's all sort of that vicious cycle of. Oh, and also, if someone wants to get a hold of you for voiceover work or voice effects work, where can they find you on Fiverr? Absolutely. And if absolutely anytime, and if they have an email, do you have an email address that they can reach out directly? All the socials. So much so much easier to remember that way too. Not not changing everything up, but yeah, absolutely. So, thank you for coming on. Thank you for sharing all of your Oscars thoughts. Is it easier being the guest on a show as opposed to having to? Hopefully, I can return that favor many more times and have you on regularly here on Dragon Movie. Yes. And I actually did all that work already. I sent an email, and actually I had 5 in the 1%er group that I had seen and actually liked. Yeah, well, there's a lot of 1%ers on Rotten Tomatoes. So yeah, you got the bleep effect you got the beep effect all loaded up and ready to go. I edit in my head. I edit in my head as I go. Well, thank you, Rob, for coming on, and you find for anyone interested in following Rob and watching 2 hours into our video. Thank you for all the watch time and watching, and I will say, see you next time.